A single crimson heart emoji, no speech, no ribbon cutting, just rewired 5 centuries of portrait protocol inside Buckingham Palace. When the Prince and Princess of Wales double-tapped the King's Instagram post on the 22nd of June, they did far more than like a photograph. They blessed a seismic shift in what hangs on the palace walls, who gets to see themselves reflected in gilded frames, and how the crown now tells Britain's story to itself. That story begins 76 summers ago, as the battered troopship HMT Empire Windrush eased past Tilbury's Cranes. It carried 1,027 passengers, 802 of them from Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, St. Lucia, and Grenada, answering London's plea to rebuild a nation shattered by Blitz rubble and ration books. They wore Sunday best underwool coats, clutching cardboard suitcases, carrying NHS job offers, RAFD mob papers, and hopes of finding streets paved with gold. Instead, they found no blacks, no dogs, no Irish signs in lodging house windows, hostile landlords, and winter fog that cut through Caribbean bones. For decades their contribution was recorded mainly in faded newspapers and family photo albums. But on Windrush Day 2025, 77 years to the day, King Charles hung their faces in Britain's grandest corridor, beneath chandeliers George IV ordered from Waterford crystal. 10 portraits, 10 pioneers, painted by 10 contemporary black artists. No monarch had ever placed Commonwealth migrants in the palace's historic lineup of Tudors, Hanoverians, or Boer War generals. Charles has, and the heirs have signalled they intend to keep those canvases right where they are. But will the portraits stay once the TV crews have packed up? And what does this mean for a monarchy once accused of letting empire's wounds fester in silence? Stick with us. The next 5 minutes reveal why those frames could outlast the king himself, how William plans to digitize their stories, and why some courtiers fear the gesture opens doors they can no longer control. Subscribe now so you won't miss the moment the crown decides if symbolism becomes structural change. From corridor to Commonwealth conscience. Within minutes of the Instagram post going live, 2.6 million people scrolled past painter Hannah User's portrait of 95-year-old Alfred Gardner, one of 2 surviving Windrush passengers, dressed in RAF blue, medals glinting. Beside him, mixed media artist Shannon Bono captured retired nurse Esme Booth in abstract florals recalling NHS duty and Jamaican gardenias. William and Catherine's heart reaction rocketed engagement by 48% overnight, according to Palace Analytics. But the true coup unfolded offline. That evening Charles personally escorted Gardner and Booth down the Grand Corridor. A footman overheard the king say, "Britain is your home, this house must finally say so out loud." Gardner leaned on his stick, eyes wet. "Your Majesty," he replied, "I used to polish brass in the RAF mess. Never thought I'd be brass on these walls." The moment, captured by a discreet official photographer, will appear in the next court circular, cementing the portraits as part of the royal archive. Why now, and why the palace? Charles, long fascinated by diaspora histories, first sketched the idea in the margin of a briefing book during the June 2023 Windrush 75 service at Southwark Cathedral. A choir of Caribbean elders sang, "How Great Thou Art" in lilting patois. The king underlined the line, 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, then scribbled, "Portraits. 10. Hang in palace." Aides say he wanted living monuments, not statues that risk feeling remote. The commission quietly paired 10 elders with 10 artists. Amy Sherald painted Leeds bus driver Edric Connor, emphasizing the blue conductor's cap he wore while facing racist taunts on the number 2 route. Sonia Boyce, fresh from Venice Biennale triumph, rendered NHS midwife Daphne Pearl, surrounding her in sighing gold leaf to honor 3,000 babies she helped deliver. Hervin Anderson captured steel pan pioneer Russell "Pan Man" Henderson, hands hovering above invisible tenor pans, notes suggested by Caribbean sea turquoise strokes. Each sitter spent 2 afternoons in the Beau Room, sipping Earl Grey while recounting arrival stories. Anderson wept when Henderson described playing calypso under West End Christmas lights in 1954, trying to warm London up. Boyce recorded Pearl's recollection of white mothers asking for the colored midwife, because she never left a tear unwiped. Charles invited Lambert and Brown Design Firm to adjust corridor lighting so the portraits glow at dusk receptions. A 300-year pivot in 300 words. For viewers 55 plus, consider the precedent. In 1707 Queen Anne filled St. James's with Marlborough campaign canvases, celebrating Empire's birth. Victoria later crowded corridors with Maharajas rendered in stiff brocade, tokens of imperial dominance. Edward VIII removed several, fearing they dated the palace. Elizabeth II maintained continuity, adding only a handful of Commonwealth leaders, Mandela's photo, at her audience door in 1996, for instance. Charles S. Windrush wore reverses that hierarchy. Empire's once silent workforce now peers out beside sovereigns. Painted in 2024, installed 2025, destined, palace guides say, to hang indefinitely. Curators already plan QR codes. Visitors can scan to hear 90-second oral histories recorded by William's soon-to-launch Commonwealth Voices digital archive. Cliff Edge 2, reaction at the next state banquet. The portraits debut for foreign dignitaries this October when President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana attends a state banquet. Seating charts place guests beneath the new paintings. No British sovereign has hosted a black Commonwealth head of state amidst a corridor of Caribbean pioneers. Soft power analysts believe the optics will resonate across former colonies debating Republican referenda. But inside the palace, reactions split. One retired lady-in-waiting reportedly murmured, "I suppose one must keep up with the times." Younger staff cheered. The real test will be hereditary peers invited for the House of Lords reform reception in December. A senior usher says bluntly, "Some may blanch. Most will adapt." William and Catherine's next move. The Wales's heart emoji was only the prelude. We can confirm William met Spotify executives to discuss a limited series podcast, 10 episodes, 1 per portrait, voiced by descendants reading original diary entries. Catherine's Early Years Foundation will distribute classroom packs, coloring sheets, migrant timelines, oral history tips, to 5,000 primary schools. The packs carry a discrete cipher. C3 are at the top, intertwining 2 generations behind the project. Yet an even bigger gamble looms. Leaked Foreign Office memos suggest William is being urged to reference the Windrush portraits when he addresses the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa next April, explicitly linking diaspora contribution to modern British identity. Aides fear the speech could invite calls for reparations. William reportedly replied, "Acknowledging truth is never wrong, ignoring it always is." If he utters those words on Pacific soil, he would become the first heir to address Empire's legacy in reparative terms. Facing the scandal's unfinished chapter. At ground level, families affected by the 2018 Windrush scandal value symbolism, but crave justice. Only £75 million of a £550 million compensation pool has been paid. Campaigner Patrick Vernon tells us, portraits humanize history. They must also energize bureaucracy. Palace staff have quietly lobbied the Home Office for faster claims processing. Charles's private secretary delivered a briefing note to Downing Street echoing Vernon's plea. Will the portraits stay? Signs point to permanence. Buckingham electricians installed climate control microvents behind each frame, an investment reserved only for works intended to hang decades. Conservators gave every canvas a Royal Collection accession number. Removing them would now require a full trustee's sign-off, not a whim. And tour scripts for 2026 already list the Windrush Corridor as a fixed highlight, where Britain's mosaic meets monarchy's mirror. One last twist: Commonwealth skepticism. Not everyone is charmed. In Kingston, Jamaican MP Lisa Hanna welcomes the portraits, but insists symbolism cannot substitute an apology for slavery. Charles has voiced deep sorrow, but stopped short of apology. Advisors discuss whether a future speech might bridge that gap. William's team say any apology must be backed by scholarship funding and heritage site restoration grants. For now, the portraits radiate quiet power. Tourists queue longer, guides rewrite spiels, and every footman passing through at dawn sees Gardner, Booth, Henderson gazing steadfastly back. The corridor whispers, the crown's story is broadening. Whether that whisper grows into systemic change, or stays prettily framed, is the question we'll keep pursuing. Hit subscribe and stay with us as we follow how 10 paintings and a single heart emoji keep rewriting the script of 1,000-year-old monarchy, stroke by stroke.